Look, we know the SIE exam is a test of judgment, right? Not just memory. But here's the thing. You can't make the right judgment call if you don't know who the players are. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to build the blueprint of the entire financial world piece by piece.
Everything, and I mean everything, boils down to these three questions. Who's got the money? Who needs the money? And who are the middlemen that connect them? By the end of this, you're going to have a crystal clear map of this entire ecosystem. No more confusion.
All right, to make this dead simple, I want you to think of the entire market as a giant electrical grid. Seriously, this one idea, this one mental model is going to organize everything for you. It's the key that makes all the little details finally click into place.
So every grid has two ends, right? On one side, you've got the power plants. These are the issuers. They're the ones creating the product, the stocks and bonds, because they need capital to run their business. And on the other end, well, that's the consumers, us, the investors. We're the ones supplying the capital that those issuers are looking for.
So who are these power plants exactly? Well, first you've got corporations. They're issuing stocks and bonds to pay for new factories, for research, you name it. Then you have governments, like the US Treasury, literally the biggest borrower on the planet, funding everything the country does. And finally, you have municipalities. Think states, cities, school districts, issuing bonds so they can build our roads, our schools, and our hospitals. They all create securities.
And who's on the other side of the grid plugging in? You've got retail investors, that's everyday people, you and me. Then you have the absolute giants, institutional investors. We're talking pension funds, mutual funds, insurance companies, massive pools of capital. And then there's this special category called accredited investors. These are the high net worth folks who get access to certain types of investments because the regulators assume they can handle more risk.
Okay, so we've got our power plants, the issuers, and we've got our homes and businesses, the investors. But how does the electricity get from one to the other? You can't just have a gap, right? You need the transmission lines. And in the financial world, those transmission lines are the broker-dealers. They are the essential link. And listen, we are about to hit a concept that is so critical, so fundamental to this exam, that if you master it right now, you are giving yourself an enormous leg up. Pay close attention here.
Here's where so many people get tripped up. They see a broker-dealer and try to memorize two separate lists of rules for what they do. That is the absolute wrong way to think about it. It's not two different things. There is one single pattern you need to see, and it makes everything clear.
So, forget the rule books for a second. In any transaction, you just need to ask yourself one simple question. Is the firm acting as a matchmaker, or are they acting as a merchant? That's it. That is the entire game. Everything else flows from that one distinction.
Let's break this down with an analogy that makes it impossible to forget. When a firm acts as a broker, think of a real estate agent. They're a matchmaker. They connect a buyer and a seller, but they never actually own the house, right? They take zero risk, and for their service, they get paid a commission. Simple. Now, when a firm acts as a dealer, think of a used car dealer. They are a merchant. They go out and buy cars to put on their lot. That's their inventory. They take on the risk that the cars might lose value. And how do they get paid? They profit from the markup when they sell the car. Matchmaker versus merchant.
And here is the little trick to lock this in your brain forever. For the broker role, just remember your ABCs. An agent acts as a broker and gets paid a commission. A, B, C. Agent, broker, commission. You will never get that wrong again.
So, do you see the pattern now? This isn't about memorizing two different job descriptions. It's about seeing one single function, making a trade happen, from two different points of view on risk. Once you see that pattern, you don't need to memorize a dozen facts. You just understand the system. That's the key.
Okay, last piece of the puzzle. Our grid is pretty much built, but you also have all these specialized roles that are kind of like the maintenance crews and the system operators. They're the ones who keep the whole thing running smoothly.
You've got underwriters or investment bankers who help the issuers bring their securities to the market for the very first time. You've got market makers, who are dealers that are always ready to buy or sell a particular stock, which makes trading easy for everyone else. Custodians, they're basically the high-security vaults. They hold on to everyone's assets to keep them safe. And finally, transfer agents are the official scorekeepers. They track exactly who owns what.
So, let's step back and look at what we've built. With just these few core ideas, you now have a complete mental map of the entire marketplace. You can see how every single player has a logical place in the system.
And here it is, the grand summary. The entire market is just a system for moving money from people who have it, investors, to entities that need it, issuers. And the main channel for that movement is through broker-dealers, who can act either as agents, which we call brokers, or as principals, which we call dealers. Everyone else just supports that fundamental process. That's the whole picture.
So there you have it. You've got the complete cast of characters. But you haven't just memorized a list of names. You get it. You understand their roles, why they exist, and how they all fit together. You are in complete control of this knowledge.
All right, so what's next? Your job now is to make this framework rock solid. I want you to open the SIE Mastery System book to Chapter 3.1, and for every role you read about, map it back to the grid we built today. In our next session, we're going to take these players and see how they actually behave in the primary and secondary markets. Think about it. Now that you know who the players are, what do you think the rules of the game are going to look like?